This is Chris, the Idaho Painter, here on Paint Live TV. This is part 2 of our comprehensive series of prepping a house. If you haven't seen part one was the whole caulking process. It was a long video explaining in detail everything I do when it comes to prepping a house and the caulking process. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I come out with a new video. If you want to see the caulking process after you've seen the priming process, just go back and check that video out later on. But this video is all about priming, what I prime on a house. I'm gonna be using Peel Bond or Primar X is my primer. I'm gonna be going around priming blistered areas and troubled areas in this house. So you wanna see what I prime on a house, how I go about prepping a house, stay tuned for this video. All right, so here we are with this door jamb. It doesn't need a ton of work, but I've seen way worse than this. But we're gonna sand it with our paint eater and get some of these the peeling edges and stuff feathered out and stuff. First thing we wanna do, we don't wanna mess up the weather strips, and the weather strips come out very easily normally. Except this time, you just pop them out with one simple use for your 5-in-1 tool. These guys are in there really tight. But you know, you could damage them. You don't want to paint the door. I can't tell you how many times do-it-yourselfers don't pull them out, paint them. Even professional painters don't paint their weather strips. Not a good idea. Doesn't look very professional. Here's some caulking that's kind of coming out, so we can get that, pull that stuff out. We don't want that old caulking that's kind of messed up right there. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna start off with my paint eater. So I'm gonna close the door because I don't want a bunch of dust going into his garage. I'm gonna be using a respirator. Always wear a respirator when you're sanding. All right, we got the dirty part done. That's the part I don't like doing, is getting all dusty and dirty. But I'll tell you, like some people are gonna ask me, well, why am I using the paint eater and then going over with a sander? Why don't I just use a sander? Why don't I use a paint eater? The paint eater, it feathers out the paint edges like a sander won't. It takes down the edges about 3 times faster than a sander will. So I hit it with the paint eater, feather out all the peeling paint edges. This will take off paint, the sander won't. And so they kind of both serve 2 purposes. The door jamb's looking pretty dang good now compared to what it was. I'm gonna caulk it, and then I'm gonna spackle the nail heads, and then I'm going to put some Peel Bond on that. So I'm gonna take and sponge caulk this thing now, and then we're going to go on to doing some peel bonding on the other side of the house. Let this caulking dry, and then we'll come back and do some priming on it. All right, so now I'm getting ready to do some peel bonding. I'm gonna be working on these. The only thing, I got a door jamb back there that needs peel bond on it. The rest of the house is in really good sound condition, even though it's been 15 years since it's been painted, but we've got a lot of blistering, on these shakes right here. So I'm gonna peel bond those. I got my peel bond, a little trick, peel bond dries clear. So all that work you go to doing primer, you can't even tell where you've gone if you've gone around the house. So we actually add white tint or white paint, just a little bit of it, and then you can see everywhere you've gone when it dries. Another thing it does, everybody that drives by is going to be able to see the priming that you did, and they're going to notice all the hard work you did when it comes to the prep work. So you want the customers, you want your customer, you want prospective customers to see that. And I can't tell you how many jobs I've sold just because the amount of prep work we did and the people noticed it driving by. So I got my peel bond here, added some white paint. A handful of white paint to it, and it's just gonna give it that translucent white look. Gonna stir it up and then begin doing the priming. Very simple. Some people like to roll it on, some people spray it on. My entire career, I've always just brushed it, and I typically use a 3-inch or a 4-inch brush. I don't have a lot to do today, so I'm just using a Premier Riverdale brush to brush it on, and that's it. One of the tricks of this stuff is putting it on super thick. You don't want to put a thin coat of it. You just want to actually cake it on, and that way it'll fill in blistering, fill in dry spots. If you see anything you need to sand, so I do like to keep a sanding sponge with me also. I can sand anything that I need to sand while I'm here. There's some. Sometimes the blistering has to be sanded to smooth it out. Otherwise, you'll still be able to see it after you've peel bonded or peel bonded it and painted it. So just working right along peel bonding, just sanding this stuff and just trying to hit everything that is exposed and blistered now. And you don't have to be very particular about how you get it on. Just get it on nice and thick. And so to just glue all this stuff back together, I'm trying to get underneath the laps too that are causing some of this stuff, the water soaking underneath all these things, all the shakes, and working itself up and causing it to swell and peel. So just cruising right along, just nothing special about this. It's just doing a good thorough job. I've got another sanding sponge. I'm using a 3M sanding sponge. Before I was using a sanding sponge that was a fine sanding sponge, but it just makes the sanding process, I was using not a 3M, I was using EcoSilk fine sanding sponge. Now I'm using a 3M medium sanding sponge, which makes the sanding a lot faster, which I'll show you as I get up here, do a little bit more sanding. It knocks it off. It's really easy to sand with the sanding sponge. It's nothing difficult because it's extremely dry, extremely brittle, but it's very important that you knock it down and smooth it out. So we got all of our prep done. I just wanted to walk you around the house and show you, some of the things we prepped and why we prepped it. And you're gonna see some white Peel Bond primer everywhere where I put Peel Bond primer. You're also gonna see nail heads where nail heads penetrated the siding and we caulked over the nail heads. You can actually put Peel Bond over the top of the nail heads. It does the same effect as caulking does. And so sometimes we'll, brush Peel Bond, on the high stuff versus caulking it. But I've got down here, we already started going over it, with paint, but so you can't see it, but here's some Peel Bond right here, brushed it underneath the lap right here because we started to have some separation and some swelling. Did some nails heads here. We'll walk over here to the corner board here. Here was a corner board that had a bunch of swelling on it right here. So we wanted to seal that up really well with Peel Bond on the bottom to really waterproof it. Cut edges underneath here, the bottoms, I like to run Peel Bond up under here to seal that. You can see this is swollen because it got wet at some point in time and swelled. We want to seal that. It's a cut end on the siding. So anywhere there's a cut in, you typically want to seal that. We'll walk down here and show you some more stuff down this direction. All right, so on the back side of the house here, this has a big overhang, so there's not a lot of damaged siding, swelling, or anything, but this is the exhaust for the heater. I like to 100% caulk around there so it looks a little bit nicer. Peel Bond to the top up here and the cut ends right there. That was dry. We did have a little swelling right there, caulk that. Up here, a few nail heads up top. Put some Peel Bond on top of some of the windows. Once again, a little bit of blistering here, sealing the bottom cut ends, bottom of the window there. This side of the house, we'll get around to this side of the house and you'll see where there was a lot of sun and blister damage, and we'll walk you through that. So here's the corner right here. There's a sprinkler head actually down here that's obviously hitting the siding, causing a lot of water damage. So we need to get the homeowner to adjust the sprinkler head right here so it's not doing that. It's all swollen on the bottom, a lot of swelling underneath the laps. So we brushed Peel Bond underneath all that. This whole section, you can see the mineral deposits from the sprinklers hitting it all the way up this high right here. So that needs to get repaired or you're going to continue to do damage to the siding, even though you prime it and paint it. So we've got this all primed with Peel Bond. Tops of the window there, we always want to do the tops of the windows that are dry. Tops, bottoms, cut in. I missed the cut in right here. We'll go back and hit that, before on our final priming that we're going to be doing. So this side right here, there's a lot of sun up here. We hit some nail heads up top, brushed them with Peel Bond, and a lot more Peel Bond over here. And then there's a door jamb, pretty messed up. We'll show you what we did on that. So here's the door jamb. This thing was pretty beat up, water, sun damage to it. We sanded it with first with our paint eater, then we sanded it with our Ecosand orbital 5-inch sander, and then I put a coat of Peel Bond on it, let it dry. It was dry within about an hour. We sanded again and put a second coat of Peel Bond on it. Now it's looking a lot better. And the rest of the siding, this is still the same side. Up high, we had a bunch of priming with Peel Bond, some blistering on the gable ends up high up there. Once I got up high, it didn't look like there was much prep work to do up high, but when I got up there, you can see it from a ladder when you're there up close. Just sanding with a sponge, hitting things, knocking the blistering down, and then hitting it with a the Peel Bond with a brush. And that was all up high on these two. We got gable ends right here. We'll walk you around to the front of the house, show you the last stuff that we primed, and then we're gonna end up showing you painting the house. All right, we've got the front of the house here. Now, we did a lot of priming. Up there's spot priming on the shakes. I know a lot of people are probably gonna ask, why not just prime the whole house? Well, there's two reasons. You're gonna use significantly more primer, and you're gonna be priming areas of the house that don't need to be primed. So it's gonna be significantly more primer and significantly more work. I did tops of some of the trim boards right here because the tops of them are pretty dry. We got some corner boards that needed to be primed with Peel Bond. The shakes, all the tops of the core boards, when I got on top of those, when I looked at them from a ladder, you could see they were all bare wood and dried. So I brushed some peel bond on the top of those. And so this is got the whole house, the tops of the doors, the garage doors, they kind of got this flat area that's not ideal. Snow sits on top of them, rain sits on top of them. Hit that with peel bond. So there's a look at what it looks like, the whole priming process and the prepping process. And it took me probably about, myself 4 hours to do all of that work. And once again, the house itself has been painted before. The paint is in still sound condition. There was some isolated areas that need primer and need attention, but you don't need to prime the whole house. It's already got a coat of paint on it. Now, if there was just exposed wood everywhere, blistering everywhere in the entire house, then we would contemplate whether we would reprime, or prime the whole entire house. But once again, these shakes up there, it's a lot quicker just to hand brush those gables up there. And they're, once you get up there, you can see the separation and the blistering, and spraying it on is not good enough. You really need to get a brush and really push it in and penetrate and seal that up with your primer. All right, we're just about done doing all the prep work on this house. It's been fun. It's been exciting. Hopefully you learned something. So I've done peel bond, I've done caulking, I've showed you sponge caulking, sanding and peel bonding, the shakes on this. If you have any questions or comments, if I haven't gone over anything when it comes to doing the exterior of a house that you need to know, just leave it down in the questions and comments below. I would love to hear your questions, or not actually hear them, but read them and see what you have to say. If you got any tips or tricks that I didn't share here because you're a painter yourself, or even a do-it-yourselfer that you've learned, just leave those things down in the comment section below. I love to hear, not to herd things, but like to read things new and learn things new all the time. And I learn a lot from the comment section in my videos. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Once again, hit the notification bell. If you hit the subscribe button, not the notification bell, doesn't do anything. So hope you've enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for part 3, painting the house, spraying, brushing, and rolling. Out.